Yo, what's up? It's your boy One Shot Nas back in with another video. I'm Nasir Muhammad, a local Houston DP, cinematographer, filmmaker. I'm 24 years old and I'm just here to talk to you about what I do. So let's talk about it. Today we're talking about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro and why you should buy it in 2024. So let's talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about, the big elephant in the room, why everybody should buy the 6K Pro and not the regular 6K or the G2, is because it has ND filters in it. And the fact that it goes all the way up to 6 stops is something super awesome. I really think that everybody should get ND filters inside of their camera. I wish all cameras had that, but that's not a feature that all cameras come with. Of course, third-party people who need to screw in something make money from that, but I personally hate screw on variable ND filters. I hate matte boxes. I mean, I love the look of matte boxes, but I low-key hate them because you have to buy a set of ND filters at a certain stop to get what you're looking for, and I really don't like that compared to having ND filters inside of my camera. So I'd rather buy the 6K Pro versus like the full frame. You know, obviously it's full frame, but I'd rather buy the 6K Pro because it has ND filters in it. It's just a button you press and it comes down, 2 stop, 4 stop, 6 stop, or 0.6, 1.2, and 1.8. So it's awesome. It's a great feature to have in your camera, especially if you're doing events, you're doing weddings, you're doing something outside in a really bright day. It's just something awesome that you have in your camera that you don't have to look in your bag to go grab or run somewhere to go get it because your bag's somewhere else and you're in the middle of a shoot and you're missed a shot. So ND filters are the number one thing on why I bought this camera, because of course it's awesome, but the ND filters is life changing. So I would really recommend you buying a camera with ND filters in it, even if it's not the Blackmagic 6K Pro or it's like the C70 or FX6. That's something that would really be beneficial to you. So I would suggest you get that. Next, this is more of like an upgrade thing though. The upgrade from like the 4K, 6K to the Pro G2, and of course the full frame body, is the new battery solution for just the in-camera body battery solution, which is the Sony NPF batteries that are so much better than the Canon LPE6 batteries that they had previously, where you probably had like 20 minutes worth of runtime, you know, in a high codec. But now we have the NPF batteries, and those batteries are super awesome. I did a music video recently where I shot really the whole video on just the body of the camera, which I never do. I didn't have it rigged out, didn't have a cage on it. I literally just had the Sigma 24mm 1.4 on the camera and the in-body battery, and it lasted probably like 60 minutes to maybe 90 minutes each. And I did that shoot for like 4 hours. We just had some fun in there, and it was really good. I really appreciate that in-body camera battery. I usually have to rig it out, V-mount it, because that's my big camera, but man, just having the body and keeping it low run and gun, it's an amazing battery. So it lasts about 90 minutes. It lasts about 60 minutes. I would definitely grab this camera over the rest of the younger cameras because older cameras, my bad. Then the older cameras, because the older cameras, of course, are going to have 20-minute runtime if you're not trying to rig the camera up. So the battery solution has definitely gotten better. Next topic, but the most important topic, is the image quality that you get out this camera. The image quality that you get out this camera is completely, hands down, one of the best image qualities that's compared to Red, Arri, you know, and all these other camera manufacturers that are super cinematic. This image is just amazing. You know, it has 12-bit, or some people say 14-bit, but 12-bit raw codec. But you got a 12-bit codec, and the color science on this camera is just amazing. It's hard to match this camera with another camera. Like, I have the Sony Fx30, and it's really hard to match this camera to that camera because they're just two different looking videos, man. One's a video, one's a filmic image. It really just blows me away every time I look at the camera that this image is just what it is compared to all these other different cameras. I love them. And then you match them with some cine lenses. It's just really amazing how this is like a really movie looking camera, and you can get that for a very cheap price. And I really appreciate that. And I would buy them over and over again. It's really hard for me to upgrade cameras because I really want to keep this camera and I don't want to exchange it for nothing else. I don't want to sell it. I really want to keep it, man. I feel like even if I bought something that was better than this camera I'm talking about, then I would still pick this camera up. Like, I don't know. I would, even I bought the Red Komodo and that image 16-bit raw. I would still pick this camera up any day and shoot with this camera, man. It's just super amazing with the image quality that you get out of it. So yeah, I'm going to run through some of the camera tech super quick. So some of the camera tech you got this camera is just like, you get dual native ISO at 400, 3200, which is super good. I mean, it's a little noisy at 3200, but it's still kind of clean. It looks really filmic, and I really like that. You have great IO ports. You have two mini XLR ports that are in there. You have a full HDMI. You have 3.5 millimeter jack. You have headphone jacks. You have 12 volt battery, 2-pin in, which is great for V-mount solutions, things like that. This camera is really awesome. You have 2 mini XLR ports, which is super great versus I think the 4K just has 1 mini XLR port, but that's super awesome. You have ProRes versus RAW, man. RAW versus ProRes is a really big argument. That's a whole video within itself. I'm not going to cover that today, but the RAW codec in this camera is super amazing. I use this camera all the time in RAW. I really just started shooting in RAW, I'm not gonna lie. But beforehand, I was shooting in ProRes and it was blown away from the color depth that you get because it's 12-bit. But it's really awesome having both features. The 6K full frame does not have both features. It just has B-RAW, which is amazing, but those files are super, super heavy. It's super storage hungry, and I really don't want to shoot with that all the time. But when I get a project and I really want to get that color that the Blackmagic has from the image quality, I really shoot it in RAW, and I have a great time with it. When I want to do a quick turnaround, I shoot it in ProRes, or if I want to match another camera, I shoot it in ProRes that doesn't have RAW, which is my Fx30. And you can get ProRes RAW, but I don't know. But the fact that you can do that with this camera is super crazy, man. This camera is amazing. It's something that you can level up to, and that's the next topic. Anyways, I didn't skip over anything. So the next topic is potential to grow. Like, potential to grow with this camera is super amazing because you have great image quality, you have great IO ports, you have great community behind you. Hopefully Blackmagic makes some better cameras, but the community is great. You know, you have DaVinci Resolve, which goes with this camera. You get DaVinci Resolve for free. You know, studio version, if you buy a camera that's just straight new. I bought mine used, so I don't have that. But those are the things that you get with this camera brand, and they're super awesome. The only thing is it built like a DLSLR or a mirrorless camera, which isn't that bad. You know, if you want to go cinema body, you go the Ursa route, but you can do that in this line. And this camera is just super awesome. You can shoot in RAW, and it's really great for commercials. It shoots in 6K. It's just really great. So I think that this is something that you really can invest in, and that you get your money back, and you're definitely going to grow as a filmmaker because it's going to make you do certain things. And I'm going to talk about that in my cons section, but it's going to make you do certain things as a filmmaker that's going to help you grow. And I really think that's something that everybody needs to go through, because I know I did it. Stuff like, you know, having to do manual focus only, you know, having to have stabilization, you know, and thinking about all your shots, thinking about what you need. So that's something that you're really going to have to learn through this camera, and it's going to help you grow. So I suggest you take that step into buying this camera. So 6K Pro. My last pro point, I think you should get it because you're going to be the cinema guy, not the video guy. The video guy, I'm going to throw it out there, they're Sony guys. I'm so sorry, you Sony guys. You guys have videographer cameras at a low budget. But people who are looking to do cinema at a lower budget and cannot afford that, are looking to do cinematic images, but they're stuck in a videographer standpoint, the Blackmagic is probably the best way to go, because even with the Fx30, the image is amazing, but it's nothing nowhere compared in the user interface and the codecs that you get and the things that you need as a shooter on set professionally. There's nothing in those cameras, seriously, that competes with the Blackmagic 6K Pro. At the end of the day, I shoot with Sony. I am a Sony lover. I do love Sony, but image quality, IO ports, built-in mini XLR, built-in ND filters, this camera is destroying a lot of cameras, unless you're talking about like full frame versus Super 35. But at that moment, you're still going back to your Sony videographer guys who got 12,800 ISO and don't use lights. So, you know what I'm saying? I personally, not taking a shot at you guys, but I'm just personally thinking that this camera is just better. So yeah, so you're definitely not going to be the video guy. You're going to be the cinema guy going towards the DP cinematographer route, because this camera is not a run and gun camera. You can't run a gun with this camera. People get mad when they buy it and they figure out, oh, you can't run a gun at all. Sorry, you bought the wrong camera. So you're going to learn some new stuff dealing with this big film camera. All right. Now we talked about all the 6K Pro things. We're going to talk about the cons of the 6K Pro in 2024. That's kind of going to turn you away a little bit. This is non-biased. I don't get paid from anybody. I don't even pay from YouTube. So this is non-biased, but this is super serious, and what I wanted to talk about with buying this camera and the warnings that you should have with this camera. But the good really outweigh the bad. But the bad with this camera is pretty hectic and pretty heavy. So let's kind of get into it. One of the cons that as a filmmaker really make me mad is that it's an EF mount. Now I know the 6K full frame is an L mount, But the flange distance for EF is a lot more complicated than anything like a Sony or the RF mount. So it's like we're stuck in the old school. We can't get the new lenses like Sur-Ray lenses or, the 7 Ardences lenses because they don't make it for EF because of the flange distance or something like that. But that really sucks for us because I really want those lenses and I really want the Sur-Ray lenses for the, Sony Fx30, but I can't do that because I have E-mount and E-mount, and you can't buy any or, adapt anything to EF because it's old and nobody uses EF anymore. So that's the worst thing to me in the future standpoint, which is really bad. So that's kind of why I wish they did make a full frame L mount 6K Pro. I would have bought that one. I would have sold my 6K Pro and bought that, even though it probably would have had to be raw, but that's really crunching. And I don't know if a lot of people are going to understand that, but when you start getting into wanting to buy cine lenses and the set and not just one, that's really a hard choice because now we have to only go PL. And that's harder because you have to probably stick with PL if you go 6K Pro because you can't flip it back and forth a lot. You're going to wear out a lot of the mounts in the camera. So you don't want to do that. So that sucks. The next and the most big one, the elephant in the room, is no autofocus. There's no autofocus in this camera. It's no continuous autofocus. Let me be correct. There's touch focus. Either there's touch focus or it's like a button you click where you can do focus, but it's not even that good and it makes a lot of noise. So there's no autofocus in this camera. It's not a gimbal camera. That was another point I had and put those two together. It's not a gimbal camera. You can't put this on a gimbal and autofocus unless you do LiDAR or you do some manual AC stuff. It's not a running gun camera. That's the sucker part of this camera. I'm not going to lie. It's cool, but it's really a bummer when you're trying to do some running gun stuff and you just want to get quick $1,000, so that's annoying. The next one, man. The next one is really irritating. I'm looking at this stuff. It's making me have the face. The next one is always having to rig the camera up. I always have to rig this camera up every time I want to use it because things have battery solution, or no autofocus. So I have to put a easier rig on, and hold the heavy camera. There's V-mounts always connected. Then it eats V-mounts up. So I have to have the 140 watt and a 99 backup, so it's really annoying. Having to always rig this camera completely up, lens support, everything. And the camera becomes about 15 pounds when you're done rigging the camera completely up. And I haven't even put an AC kit on it with some cine lenses. So I can imagine how the camera becomes a 25-pound camera if you got some DZO Pictor zooms on there. And the dang on lens is 4 pounds. And the camera is big as where it is. It's shaped awkwardly. You got to rig the camera up every time you want to shoot something. And you got to hold it safely because the camera's kind of plastic. So it's not like it's a metal body. It's pretty cool though. Don't get me wrong. I still love having a nice, really, really big rig. Don't get me wrong. But I just started kind of breaking down my Sony rig, doing these weddings. And I'm lucky to buy a whole bunch of just small batteries for the Sony because I'm loving just having the mirrorless body, and having the swivel screen and all that. That stuff is cool. But you can't do that in the Blackmagic. You can, but you got to buy a CF Express card. I would say this camera is more capable of doing it than the other cameras, but you always got to rig the camera up when you want to professionally use it, even with the battery grip. But it's only get 4 hours of runtime, which is cool. But who buys CF Express cards just for this camera? So it's pretty annoying. One of the topics for cons is Blackmagic problems. Like Blackmagic is known for having small itty bitty problems like I saw somebody say their Ursa 12K didn't even turn on for 3 days or something like that, then miraculously turned on. Like, that's the most Blackmagic thing I've ever heard. I've had a problem like that, but it wasn't like it didn't turn on. Like, I tried to turn it on. It just didn't register that it was, like, getting power. And, like, it showed me power, but it didn't come on. And it like would take a second, then I would keep flicking the thing on and off. That's just some Blackmagic stuff. I really hate that problem. One of the biggest problems I have is when I put in T7s or T5s that I use and they don't write to them. So now I have to keep formatting the thing. And now I'm wasting time on set. And it's something that could happen. I didn't already checked it before I left the house. I checked the night before. I'm on set, checked it. DIT's checked it. But then we get to press record and then when it writes for 5 seconds. And that is one of the most irritating things about the Blackmagic systems that I've ran into so far. Like, besides battery solution, man, that's kind of non-professional to me. It's really irritating, but I mean, I can get over it because of the image quality, and I can get over it because you should have backups for backups for backups. I keep backups for backups for backups because of that kind of stuff. I don't have a CFast card, which I would shoot in. I think that would make it better. I have SSDs. I have SD cards that are fast enough to keep, raw footage. So I have backups for things, but it's just annoying how that happens. Even on my SD cards, that happens sometimes. I'm going to buy a CFast card and see if that changes, but it's really annoying how that happens sometimes. So yeah. Here's my last couple points, but this one is personal to me. I don't know if this happened to anybody else, but I'm kind of screaming out to YouTube, like YouTube, Instagrams, all social media platforms. If anybody owns a 6K Pro and their ND filters have gotten stuck, please tell me how you fixed it. My ND filters are really annoying. I've had this camera for a year now, and they worked fine the first 6 months. Like, after 6 months, I bought this camera used now. After 6 months, my ND filters started not registering to each other, and they started getting stuck on shoots. And I remember one shoot, I had to put the whole camera down and use another guy's camera. Good thing it was an event shoot, and I was blown away because my ND filter was stuck at 2. And then I kept trying it. It wouldn't work for 4 days. Then it would miraculously work for a week. And then I would try it again. It would break. It would mess up. It was so bad I sent it off to Blackmagic in California. They said they had that camera. First of all, they had the camera for 6 weeks. They set the camera. They said they set it for 5-6 days and did it every single day and never had a problem with that. I don't even know, bro. They said update the camera, updated it, never worked. Every time I touched the dang on ND filter, it got stuck. So I got to the point where I never touched the ND filter. I got a lot of people telling me to send it to Blackmagic. I did it. They sent it back, and they told me nothing's wrong with it. That was the most Blackmagic problem I've ever had in my life. And it really irritated me to the point where I bought another camera. I bought a Sony Fx30. I wanted a Sony Fx30 before I bought the 6K Pro, but I ended up buying a 6K Pro, man. Then I bought the Sony Fx30 and I was good. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm never gonna press the ND filter button again. I was like, you know what? Let me try it recently. And I tried it and it's been working. So I'm not really too mad anymore. But if anybody has that problem, please tell me how they fixed it, because I'm going to update the camera again and keep trying it. I'm going to slowly keep trying it all the time. I did some shoots that were like just walking outside with my wife and stuff, and I kind of just put the ND filters down, see how they would work. They worked pretty well. So I'm going to try it out on a professional shoot within the next month or two, and I'm going to see how it holds up. And if I do, and if it works, I'm probably going to buy another 6K Pro. I'm probably not going to buy another Sony Fx30. I'm probably going to buy a 6K Pro and rock with the ND filters inside the camera, because that's just an amazing camera, and that's something that's an amazing feature. So yeah, those are some of my problems, man. This is an amazing camera. In conclusion, well, okay, hold on. In conclusion to that last point, I'm a little irritated with. As you can see, it's irritating because I really sent that camera off and they sent it back to me. It took 8 weeks and I was missing work due to Blackmagic Problems. So I had to buy another camera immediately. And that's cool because now I got an AB, bro, and I ain't tripping, and it's amazing. And I'm gonna probably buy one of these. I'm just picking which one I'm gonna buy. It's gonna be the Sony Fx30 or is it gonna be the Blackmagic 6K Pro? I really want it to be the Blackmagic 6K Pro, but with the cons I gave you, it is what it is. But with the pros I gave you, it just outweighs. I have a homeboy named Jason. Shout out Jason Ware on YouTube. He just goes back and forth with me all the time about like how Sony's a so. I used to think that same thing about Sony too, but I'm like, man, dude, like the way you use this camera, the interface, everything is super awesome. Just the image quality just blows me away every time I use the Sony Fx30. I'm like, man, this is so underwhelming looking at this image. Then I use the Blackmagic camera, and then I'm like, man, I see why I became a filmmaker. Like, I love the Blackmagic's image. Like, it's so amazing. It's utterly the best thing that I've ever seen that I've created. I've made some images from this that I just look at and I'm like, I'm in awe. Like, man, this is like film. And then the grain is so organic. Everything is so organic with this camera. When you get it spot on, it's amazing. It's false color. It has all the cinema features you need, like focus assist, focus peak, everything within the thing. The monitor controls, all of it. It's an amazing camera. It just has its flaws. But it's an amazing camera, and I would not suggest another camera in 2024. And it depends on what you're doing. I would suggest this camera to any DP cinematographer who is starting out trying to figure out what camera package is going to take them to the next level? What camera image is going to make them work harder? We're going to make them feel inspired. That's the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro in 2024. Anything else, I think you can kind of walk out the door because it's just digital, and we're living in the camera face-to-face world. But this camera, it's just je ne sais quoi. Je ne sais quoi. Hey, ain't nobody in France get mad, but man, I greatly appreciate you guys for like, comment, and subscribing. I'm getting new subscribers. I greatly appreciate you guys. I'm gonna try to make more videos within not a month. This is my last video was 3 weeks ago, and you guys have really been loving it. So it's close to 500 views. I'm not the best at this stuff, so really stay tuned with me. But I greatly appreciate everybody for like, comment, and subscribing, and keep subscribing. Stay tuned. My subscribers, man, text me, DM me, whatever you gotta do. Email me. You tell me what you guys want to see, and let's get it done. So I greatly appreciate that. Tell me what kind of setup you want to see too, because I have like the blue light setup, and it's pretty cool. But just let me know. Just let me know, man. I greatly appreciate you guys, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Go buy the 6K Pro in 2024 because I think it's an amazing buy. Peace, guys. Go buy your 6K Pro. Happy New Year's. Happy 2024. Keep grinding. Keep working. Much love. Peace.